issue. And we've got MSNBC contributor Steve Schmidt here, Anita Dunn, a former White House communications director under President Obama, and Brian Lanza, who was deputy communications director for the Trump campaign. Brian, at the top of the show, you said you just hung up the phone with Mr. Scaramucci, who said that tomorrow morning he would report to work at the Ex-Im Bank. I wrote down that Sarah Sanders said that there would be no role in the administration for Mr. Scaramucci moving forward. So you think they're mixed messages, or do you think maybe someone hasn't told Mr. Scaramucci about his fate?
I think we'll get clarity tomorrow morning at 9 o'clock at the Import-Export Bank. I mean, it's, we'll see what the discussion.
You think he'll wait that long? You don't think he'll call someone to see
as
his
far as he knows, he's reporting.
So you're telling me that right now, Anthony Scaramucci believes that he is an employee in good standing at the Ex-Im Bank?
Absolutely.
All right, White House not yet getting that message. Steve Schmidt, what do you think?
Well, look, I think that it certainly is the case that this White House and the West Wing is functioning like some sort of latter-day zoo. And I have no doubt about General Kelly's ability to instill both the appropriate level of fear and discipline in people who badly need a dose of both. But the issue that's causing chaos globally in the country, that has taken the president to record low approval numbers, is not a staff issue, it's a president issue. And will the general be able to control the worst impulses of the president? I mean, if you think about it, for a president of the United States to go give a speech to the Boy Scout Jamboree and to be rebuked by the Boy Scouts for its inappropriateness, I don't even know what that's like. That's like a chef who burns a grilled cheese.
And then on Friday, he goes to, I burn grilled cheeses all the time, but when he went to give the speech on Friday, police departments all across the country rebuke the message to the police. I mean, so in his short tenure as a person in charge of the message, he gave two of the worst received speeches of his presidency and sent out some of the most fiery and off-the-rails tweets of his presidency, Anita.
And he had an interview with the New Yorker that, for kind of breathtaking idiocy on the part of the White House communications director, we will probably wait several generations before we see something like this, Nicole. So that, we'll miss that 10-day tenure of Anthony Scaramucci moving forward. I know you miss it already. But I think Steve's point is exactly right, which is, at the end of the day, this is a decision the President of the United States makes. Now, I was heartened today that we got through a cabinet meeting without him, insulting any members of his cabinet. And so perhaps we can move forward. There is an agenda at stake for this president and for the White House. There are issues out there that are serious and need bipartisan cooperation to address, not the least of which is what comes next for healthcare. How are we going to modernize our tax system so we can compete with other countries? Mm-hmm. How are we going to get these things done? So, General Kelly hopefully can impose some order on this, but Steve's right. At the end of the day, it's about the president.
Brian, so I follow the president on Twitter, but I don't stay up over the weekend. So before we came on, I checked all of his tweets from the weekend. So since Kelly was announced as chief of staff, he attacked China for not doing enough on trade and North Korea on Twitter. He went after Republicans again over Obamacare. He denied that there was any chaos in the White House when he had to have known that within hours Mr. Scaramucci would be relieved of his 10-day-old duties. Do you think that the use of Twitter is helping him advance his agenda or hurting him?
His Twitter is the most powerful political tool on earth right now. It's his bully pulpit. And if you look at what happened during the first healthcare, the House vote in healthcare earlier in March or in April, it failed. And then he went on Twitter and he hit hard some of his Republican colleagues, Meadows and Charlie Dent, and they got back to work a month later. Were able to
but he also called the bill mean. I mean, I guess let's talk about healthcare. Hang on,
he's actually moving the ball forward.
So you think Donald Trump moved the ball forward on healthcare? He moved the ball into the gutter. It's dead because of Donald Trump.
It's one vote short. That doesn't make it dead. They have another opportunity to bring it back. I think that's the difference with Washington politicians. Every time they run into a tough issue and they fall short of the votes, they're like, push it aside and they never want to deal with it again. What you have with President Trump is a business guy that they fall short, they keep trying and trying and trying until it happens. That's what happened with the healthcare vote. They were votes short. They didn't even take up the vote a month later.
But my question to you is, was Donald Trump helpful or hurtful to the effort by calling the House bill mean, saying the Senate bill lacked heart? Was he helpful?
You're going to have to ask the House of Representatives and Senators.
I'm asking you. I mean, you come with my show, you answer the question.
It didn't bother me.
Well, listen, so you're a communicator. You sell your services as a communications advisor. Do you think that someone with the title communications director should know when he or she is on the record or not, the reporter?
Yes.
So what do you make of what Anthony Scaramucci did with the New Yorker?
You know, he thought he was having an off-the-record conversation.
Would you have that kind of conversation off the record?
Would I curse the report off the record? I've done it many of times.
Like that?
Never to the extent
So
that some
this
of the
is
words
just
he
a
used.
remarkable, Steve, it's a remarkable kind of person, I guess, attracted to the Trump orbit, because I would never have that kind of conversation.
Steve, you've never cussed a report off the record?
Like that? I've worked with Steve on 3 campaigns.
Sure,
I've
I
never
know
heard
Steve.
Steve talk like that.
I grew up in North Jersey. I'm familiar with all the colorful colloquialisms of the area of the country that Anthony and I grew up with. But let me tell you something. As someone who served in the West Wing of the White House, never disgrace the office, never disgrace the president.